Hello, everyone coming in. I'm live. Queen of Credit. I want to make this quick live stream. I hope it ends up being quick. This is your 5 minutes of fame, right? First 5 minutes, I call it the 5 minutes of fame. So as you are coming in, drop your city and state. Let's get our do nows out the way as I share this video. Hello, Jesus. Jesus, you're the first one in today. You're the first one in today, right? So let me share this on my Facebook page as more people come in and say hello. 5 minutes of fame, people. We're at 60 seconds, exactly 1 minute. So come in so I can give you a shout out. We're on the clock. 4 more minutes to be in the 5 minutes of fame section. 5 minutes of fame where I can say hello to you personally before we get into the topic. We got Jesus already in from California, Eric from Atlanta, right? Jesus says first one in. You are out, Jesus. You are a God given blessing to me. Jesus is always the first one in, last one out. We got Tanya from Michigan, right? Tanya from Southfield, Michigan. Juliet Adams, hello. And you all, if I don't correctly pronunciate, let me put my sticker on here. Your names, please forgive me. Or maybe even your city or state, right? From Chicago, how are things going in Chicago? I just made an interesting post on my Facebook about Chicago, right? Uh, as far as the hot news concerning the killings or the murders in Chicago, I made an interesting post about that. And that post pretty much stated, how are the youth having access to these customized, specialized um, weaponry, right? You can't find them in the streets. There's no gun shop in inner city Chicago, right? You can't find them from a corner hustler, right? These are specialized, customized weaponry that these youth who don't have licensing have in their hands. So if you stop that, if you answer that question, then you solve the killings and the murder problems, right? Hello from Texas. Texas is in the house. All right, we got 2 more minutes for the 5 minutes. 5 minutes of fame. Hello, Big Brian, 366. Is it Niger B? Hello to you. Hello, Noring Terrell out of East Orange, New Jersey. Welcome to my live stream. If this is your first time coming on, I am known as the Queen of Credit. I would love for you, if you're on YouTube, to subscribe to this channel just as you would subscribe to Netflix, right? Anything you watch, you subscribe to. And while you're subscribing, now that you are live, take out time. You may have to exit out if you're on your cell phones, the live chat, and simply go to the thumbs up and hit that thumbs up so other people will be notified that I am live stream, and they can also have access to this life-changing financial information. Hello, Felicia Roseman from Greensville, South Carolina. Tyrone Williams, hello, from Mississippi, right? We're glad to have a Mississippian in the house. 313, Martin made it into the 5 minutes of fame. When I decided I was going to call it that. The 5 minutes of fame, 313, Detroit is in the house, AKA in my Mississippi French voice, also known as Detroit. Oh my God, Detroit, Michigan, right? North Carolina, Brian is in the house from North Carolina. We got Auburn in the house. He said, Queen up in here. Yep, you are in the CC Credit and Cash Flow Financial Solutions page. Hello, from beautiful Miami, Florida. We got Nyla coming in. I'm already at the 5 minute mark, but let me see. One more person that made it into 5 minutes of fame, Rodney from Alabama. Hello, Rodney. Jesus, we're back on Chicago. The only way to justify sending federal troops to struggling cities is if at the same time you're sending billions in aid so people can do better. Has he sent the troops to Chicago? Are the troops? I know that Portland, he was sending troops into Portland for some assistance, but because you all have to keep me updated. I seriously do not watch television. I really don't. I get all of my information from the Wall Street Journal. I have a subscription on my phone. So I get Wall Street Journals, any news subscription, anything I bring before you, and mainly YouTube, right? Mainly YouTube. So I'm not on, okay, so I never watch the media. I always read and research on YouTube for my information. Jesus, yeah, okay, Portland, but not Chicago, right? Because Jesus, do you all understand that even if he sent aid to Chicago, these youth will have some of the same weaponry, right? Some of the same weaponry that let me create a post. That the whatever military force that he was sent in will have, right? That's something just to make you think, right? The same military force that the military would have if he did send that aid in, the youth in Chicago would have those same assault rifles and weaponry. Things that make you go, how are youth with no gun shop in inner city Chicago and no license able to have access to the same military weapon if the military was sent in, right? So just something to make you go, just think about that. Now, this is my affirmation for this live stream. I am attracting people that are creative versus complainers, and that are critical, people who hustle versus hate, and people who focus on prosperity versus cash flow. And prosperity versus poverty. And so I said cash flow because I had someone to come in and say cash is king. Really? How much of it do you have, right? I've did so many videos on why cash has lost 80% of its purchasing power since 1971. It has lost 80% of its purchasing power. And the reason why cash has lost 80% of its purchasing power since 1971 is because President Nixon took or removed the dollar for being backed by money, which is gold. 1971 is removed from the gold standard, which made prices of inflation or prices increase, right? Or your purchasing power decrease. So if anything is king, it has power, right? And cash has no power. The more that it's distributed out, the less you're able to purchase. As of right now, the United States, $26 billion in debt, right? $26 billion in debt. So let me ask you all this question, and I ask this all the time. Who is the United States in debt to? Hello, Curtis from Alabama. Who are we in debt to? So when you come on my channel, you make comments that cash is king, you got to be able to know your historical lesson and be able to back that up. So this is our motivational mindset movie. It's not necessarily a movie, but I saw this today and I want to share it with you all because this will help us get into the topic of this live stream, right? Why not give yourself credit? Because money does not grow on trees, right? Yes, track the people who are creative over complaining, hustle over hate, and prosperity over poverty, right? Prosperity over poverty. Now, everyone that comes in, if I highlight your name, just know I see you. I may not call it out and recognize you, but I do see you, and I may not call it out so I can continue to speak on the topic of hand without being disrupting. Curtis, I thought you was on my live stream the other day when I told you that the United States is just not in debt to China. Or maybe that was someone else. You all don't understand. United States, you know what? I think I'm gonna save this video. We're going here. I'm gonna save this video for later. We have to give a history. We have to give a history lesson, right? Let's give a history lesson. Also, there will be some changes and updates on my channel. Pretty soon, some of this information I'm sharing private will only be available for people who are monthly subscribers. So you can really understand the difference between assets and liability. And while I'm finding this other video explaining who the United States is in debt to, I also want you all to do this, right? And you're going to, after I break this down to you, you will understand all of this information, right? Okay, Martin was on. Yes, the Federal Reserve is a different entity than our government, right? They work together, but they are separate. So you can say the Federal Reserves are the kings, and the United States, the government, is queen, right? Work together, but totally separate. And we're not just in debt to China, but China is our largest debt, right? China is our largest debt. Hello, you all that's coming in. Okay, Curtis said that he missed the video. We have another person from Mississippi in. Right, so if the United States is actually bankrupt, then how is cash king? Because that's what they're giving us, right? Let me say this again. If the United States is bankrupt, if I wrote you a check, right? If I wrote you a check from my checking account that had a zero balance in it, and I was broke, then how could you take that check that I gave you and say, this is king? Because that check at that point has no purchasing power because nothing is backing it. So I want you to take this and image this with your cash. If a country is broke and bankrupt and nothing is backing it, I just wrote you a blank check. I just wrote you a blank check out of thin air. My bank account that the check comes out of has no balance in it. Then how can what I just gave you be king? Because and then you take it, right? And you take it and you give it to someone without knowing that I have zero in my bank account. Let's say you give it to the grocery store and it takes up to 5 days to find out that this check has no backing or collateral to support it. And you take but the cashier doesn't know that, and the system doesn't know that. And you take that blank check and you in exchange get groceries. Why did it allow you to get groceries? Because in good faith, you thought there was actually something backing that check. I'm giving you a scenario so you can understand where we are. And that's why you're able to exchange currency or cash for goods and services, because fiat currency is what it's called. printed cash. That's why they put "In God We Trust" on this. Is fiat is Latin, right? It's Latin for in good faith. So they think that in good faith, or how it's supposed to work, or how it used to work up to 1971, is that in good faith, I'm giving you this paper currency or cash, and I should be able to cash this in and go to the banks and redeem money, which is physical silver and or gold. But let me make sense to you, because some people are new to the channel and you're just new to this information. Eric says people need to understand that cash has lost its value a long time ago. That's why credit still rules. Exactly. Credit has been probably along because all this is an IOU note saying that I'm crediting you this IOU note, Federal Reserve note, debt note, right? That's why on your cash it has this debt is a legal tender for our notes, means the IOU note. I'm crediting you this note so you can go and redeem and get the physical money. So let me explain this. Because I know it takes a while to really digest this, because you're not taught this in schools, right? But have you ever asked yourself why don't they teach this history in school? Why don't they teach about 1971 when President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard? Why don't they teach you about the GOB, the General Board? GBO, General Board. Wait a minute, is it GOB or by John D. Rockefeller in 1902? General Board of Education, GBE. I'm sorry, that really ensured, right, that this school is only taught in certain manner, way, and materials, right? So if you come on the channel, I'm not against you saying cash is king, but you're going to have to be able to dispute that and back it up. Now, the only thing that makes cash king right now is because you can still exchange it for goods, foods, and services, right? But we're going to go into the education part of this live stream in a few minutes. Mark said, if the U.S. bankrupt and nothing backing it up, how can cash be king? Exactly. They're using our collateralized birth certificate on the stock market and tax the people. Rodney, you're true. That is true. A lot of people don't like to get into the conversation of natural law and your birth certificate because they don't understand it, right? But to say in a more simple terms, it's now a more way to enslave people economically, right? That's the simplest way I can put natural law. But Rodney Blackman, did you know that there are other ways to get out of the tax system without going through your birth certificate and natural law? And that's why I introduced the home-based business to people, right? Rodney, you're absolutely correct. I have some very smart students in my live stream right now. Isn't that something? I just received a notification. See, I have my live stream up. Just received a notification. Look at that. From my home-based business that I've just got paid, another deposit, another recurring balance. I don't know if you all can see this well, but every day this week since Wednesday, I've been receiving notifications from my home-based business that I'm getting paid, right? Wouldn't you love that? Now that's what you call passive income, because it took none of my labor. This is why I want you all to put why I sip this water. I just took some notes and make sure I didn't forget it or I'm stating this correctly. And this is going into what Rodney is saying on Facebook. Rodney, if you can hop on over to YouTube. That's what the serious people are. But if Facebook is convenient for you too, that's fine too. What Rodney is saying, but and I'm going to put this in the comment. See, the path that many people is on, the path that many people know, I say no teaches you to labor for it, right? Teaches you to labor for it. But the path that I'm now on, I'm teaching people to leverage for it. And when I say it, I'm meaning your cash flow or your cash or your assets, right? I'm on the path to labor for it, but not leverage it. But not leverage it. So let me repeat this again. The path that many people are on, they are taught to labor for it, but they're not to leverage it. And I don't want to, somebody else retyped it because I didn't see before I hit enter that the word it was not spelled out. You all say hello to my beautiful aunt. She's watching on Facebook. She says hello. That's my aunt that's watching my live stream. So you all are making this a very in-depth conversation. So I'm glad I had a general caption for this live stream, right? Why not give yourself credit? Because money doesn't grow on trees. So we can kind of go anywhere with that, right? We can kind of go anywhere with that. Curtis says, right, the issue of Fed was fought by the early founders of the country. Andre Jackson knew that we would go bankrupt. Carissa says, knowledge don't help people. Knowledge don't help the banks profit. They will lose and will be more profitable. But banks, knowledge can help people profit though, right? It may not help the banks profit, but it definitely will help people profit. I've heard it for years, but never heard if there was a way to access funds. Star J, maybe you said something earlier, but Star J on YouTube, I really don't know what that comments mean, right? Yes, you have to create a business. And Jay-Z said it best. Someone that's a good note taker on my live stream, will you retype this so I can, but make that say the word leverage it? The path that many people know teaches to labor for it, but not ... shorthand, not leverage it, right? As Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, right? I'm not a businessman. I am the business, in other words, So let me look up Jay-Z quote so I can quote it correctly. Jay-Z, so I can quote it. Jay-Z have so many financial lessons in his songs and rap. I'm not a businessman, right? I'm a businessman. So let me pull that quote up. Make a mind message connection, right? Make a mind message connection. One of my favorite quotes by Jay-Z. Let me share it with you. Is this one, right? Is this one. It simply states, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business. You all get that? I'm underlining. I'm not a businessman. Someone put this quote in the comments for me. I'm a business. Now, someone added to this to think like a business, you are a business. This is not what this quote is saying. You are a business. So you are either getting taxed as a human resource business that pays out 30 to 40% of your labor to the IRS, or you are getting taxed as a business, right? Corporation, not a individual. Meaning that, in simple terms, are you getting taxed off of your social security number or a business EIN number, employer identification number? Which one are you getting taxed on? By your labor. And how are you earning your money? Are you earning your money by your labor or by leverage? Are you trying to do it solo? Do you think the secret is having an LLC and laboring for cash flow? I beg to differ. Or do you do what the rich and wealthy do and build teams and leverage and then have their money work for them? So let me write this down because I always get a lot of notes and things when I go live, and ideas and sayings and concepts. So I always have my notes ready. And if you're new to my channel, I highly advise that be note takers or participators, right? Be note takers or participators, meaning that start commenting, start making a message mind connection. If I ask you to comment something, if I ask you to type something, type it so you can retain it and retention and it stay with you long, right? Because other than that, if you're not a note taker and you're not a participator, it will be hard for you to understand and process this information and get out of the rat race. So let me see if my aunt is still on. You all are saying hello. Yeah, hello at Kathy Ford, Queen's aunt. My aunt is something else, you all. I love her. She looks 25 years old. I promise you, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. So Sharika Moore said, you have a business, SSN, EIN. So with that business, how is the money made? Does it require your labor or does it require leverage? Okay, she's still here. They're giving you some digital love. I wish you had your Facebook profile on so they can see how beautiful you are. She is very beautiful. So are you getting taxed off your labor or your leverage? Right? Labor or leverage. Martin sent me a text and said, Queen, we need you to get start marketing these coin phrases or sayings that you say. I might get a t-shirt on a t-shirt done that does say that. Leverage or labor? Which one? Yeah, you look 25. You look very good. Leverage or labor? Okay, Jacqueline says she earns her cash flow through leverage. See, what you all have to understand, the only way you can get cash flowing, the only way you can get these text messages, the only way you can get these text messages that I'm receiving every day, I don't know how this is going to, is you got to have leverage. This is daily paid text messages. See, this doesn't come from labor. This doesn't come from individual efforts. Another quote that I love, right? Another quote that I love is by John D. Rockefeller. one of the richest patrons or patriots of this country, along with Henry Ford. And if you watch Madam C.J. Walker, it was John D. Rockefeller, and that on Netflix. The richest men or families in America and their family, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, are still rich families to this day. And one of his famous quotes that I love is this one. I'd rather earn 1% off 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. So when I have people that suggest start an LLC, are you going to leverage that LLC? Are you going to labor for it? Because just because it's an LLC doesn't mean you're still not getting taxed in the highest tax bracket. Oh, yes, ma'am. And it still takes your time and your labor. Even if you have an individual landscaping business, even if you have, I don't know, maybe something in the tech field, even if you do stock trading, which takes a lot of time of you being in front of the computer. See, what you ought to understand is your number. Tell me what's your number one asset. And I need you all to put this in here because I feel like this is where we're going today. I need you to hashtag credit class. We're having credit class. What is your number one asset? What is the number one asset? I said asset is anything that put money into your pocket. Liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Right? What's your number one asset? And I'm going to wait for you all to tell me what's a number one asset to have as I read through the comments. Thank you, Liz, for retyping that for me. What's your number one? What is the number one asset you think that anyone should have? Thank you, Aubrey. You're right. I was just on the live stream and a private, and I was so impressed with the people that spoke out. We was having like a quiz, end of live stream quiz on what was covered. Because in the classroom, you're afraid to kind of answer your hand and give the answer to the teacher, and the fact that you will be wrong. Because education, traditional schooling, education gives you no error, no acceptance to make mistakes, right? Acceptance to make mistakes. Some people are saying time. Some people are saying wisdom. Like Media Pro says, he's his number one asset. Like Media Pro, let me ask you this. If you are your number one asset, and if your intellectual knowledge, intellectual property, right, is your number one asset, then why do people work for other corporations and get taxed out there? If people really believe that them themselves is the number one asset, then why do they give their skill, their talents, their time to jobs and get taxed higher or at a higher asset class than any other tax entity? So we still had some comments coming in. Gwen says, I read the book you suggested, The Richest Man in Babylon. The book is true. Oh, thank you so much, Gwen. Thank you so much. Marva said the number one asset is financial education. Carissa is saying again, time is knowledge. Liz is saying your number one asset is a job. Really? Really, Liz? See, I decided to flip mine. This is why I decided to share this with you all, this chart. This is a quadrant of how people are taxed, or human beings are taxed. And so often when people say form an LLC, they get taxed higher than an employee does. Because here, people that have LLCs are either sole proprietors, doctors, lawyers, specialists, people that specialize in services like doctors, lawyers, landscaping. They get taxed higher than an employee because oftentimes their income is high. Right? And you have people that pay $2,000-$3,000 for people to tell them how to start their own business, only to get 40 to 50% of their income taxed and taken away from them. When I show people how to do it for $228 investment through a home-based business and through leverage and not through labor. Jacqueline said your number one asset is real estate and land. Okay, Eric said he read that book too, Richest Man in Babylon. Credit, expertise, and time. So Curtis, that will fall under intellectual knowledge, intellectual property, right? Martin said a job is just over broke. Tanya says number one asset is financial freedom. Teresa says you. Well, if you all believe that you are your number one asset, why don't you invest in yourself? One of the hardest things to get people to invest in is themselves. Is themselves. And what I mean by that is like sometimes people ask me about the home-based business. They'll ask me, what if I can't encourage other people to enroll with me to become a part of the business? I said the first person you have to enroll, or sometimes they say recruit. I don't look at it as recruiting. I just look at it as you are sharing the opportunity, is yourself. That's the first thing I said. Wait, the first person you got to sell on this opportunity is you. You haven't uploaded your paycheck to see if you can get $200, $600 more because you're being taxed high. You haven't uploaded your documents. You haven't done the things you need to do, right? So a lot of times people say that they're the number one asset, but I don't believe it. John says residual income is the number one asset. Eric said about The Richest Man in Babylon, the book has enlarged his understanding. Great book. I wish everyone would read it. Exactly. Carissa said, I believe most people don't start a business is because they truly understand how to work for themselves and the correct path to even begin to take. Most are scared to fail. And you know what? I coach basketball, right? I coach basketball. And that's one of the things that I had to mature, or areas I had to mature in as a coach. Because I had come to the understanding or realization that the more mistakes I allow my girls, because I coach girls, to make, the higher our opportunities to win. See, you learn self-work in traditional school setting. They teach you to take the test alone. I teach or share with teachers or my peers or coworkers all the time in their classroom about having students work in groups and understanding how to let them share the learning experience, to be creative and think with their right brain versus the left brain. Traditional classrooms are set up to only stimulate your left side of your brain thinking. When I went to school to be a principal administrator, took those classes, thought I wanted to be a school principal administrator, right? And I actually had this lady, she's a lady that actually made a comment on one of my videos today about do-it-yourself credit repair. And after she and I exchanged some comments, she told me, she said, well, I have two master's degrees and I fixed my own credit, right? And I said, well, what exactly did you fix? She said, well, I had one closed account. I think she said 2 collections and 1 charge off. I said, so you tell me you successfully, I hope, deleted 4 items, just 4 on your credit report, and now you're an advocate that people should do their own credit. I said, how long did that take you? She said, it took me a year. And let me share this. I can share the screenshot. She said it took her a year. I can share the conversation with you, I think. And I said, you have 4 items on your credit report, and it took you a year to get those minor items on your credit report. Oh, tapped on the wrong thing. And I said, it took you a year to get those minor items removed. I said, that should have been something that took less, okay, here it is, less than 30 days. So let me share the conversation with you all. And then I'm going to tell you what I think the number 1 asset is. So you're going to see me, because I had to share my channel, right? I don't like this screenshot, but whatever. We still got Martin up there. And okay. So let me pull up the conversation chat. Conversation was, I repaired my own credit, did all the legwork myself and saved myself money. I said, what items did you repair? Okay, this is what she said. 3 collections, 2 charge offs, 1 closed account. Incorrect names, addresses, and relations to people. I don't know what relations to people mean, right? It's relations to people. I don't know. I've never heard of relations to people being on your credit report unless it's like a spouse or something of that nature. And maybe they have the incorrect spouse on there, or I don't know. But that's the only thing I've seen. So out of the hundreds of thousands credit reports I looked at, handwritten letters, dispute everything, method of verification letters, etc. It could be done on your own. It takes time. I was off. This person had to be off work and dedicate their time during the pandemic for months instead of paying. Sis, you can do it all for yourself, right? So I asked, how much time did it take you? How much time did it take you? This person said a little over a year. And I probably be better just bringing up that video, because see if I can find the comments. Okay, here it is. A little over a year. Okay, here are all the comments. 3 charge off, 3 collections, 2 charge off, 1 closed account. So that's 6 total accounts. I think I said 4 initially. I said, what laws from the Fair Credit Reporting Act did you use? And I said, that's less than 5 accounts. Should not have taken that time to do that. That should have been done in less than 30 days, right? So she's saying she was out for the pandemic for months, not knocking what I do, but our situations are different. Yes, they are. So she goes on, well, you don't have, listen at this. Well, you don't live in my house, nor do you know my life. This is just for me commenting that with less than 5 accounts, or those 6 accounts, should not have taken her that long to do that. Gets, I think, aggressive and says, you don't live in my house, nor do you know my life. I can move as fast as slow the process that I want. That's absolutely true. If you want to take years to fix your credit and continue to pay high interest and to deal with that stress. Now, mind you, I asked earlier in the conversation what laws from the Fair Credit Reporting Act did she use. No answer was provided, right? Did not quote me one Fair Credit Reporting Act law. But the point I'm making is that it can be done just like you learn, the average person can learn to do credit too. I guess the average person can also learn to be a mechanic. The average person can also learn to be a plumber. The average person can also learn to be an electrician. But you know what? What you all fail to realize, it takes years to learn those things. So you'll go to community college or university for 2 or 4 years to learn how to do things on your own. But you think that credit repair is something that people, just the average person, should be able to pick up and do. The average person can learn, like I said, any mechanic, plumber, electrical. Anybody can. But how much time and years are you going to take to learn it? I had 2 earned master's degrees. And if I can't read and research for myself, at this point, it's a huge problem. I'm not here to go back and forth with you, but you commented on my channel, just stating my case that it can be done. Several people on YouTube have done it for themselves. Several. There are thousands and millions of people on YouTube. She said several people, right? Look at the statistics. So keep doing you, and I'll keep doing me. Thanks. I thought that was a little rude. You're on my channel, right? So I said 2 master's degrees does not make you an expert on credit repair, just student loan debt in most cases. And you commented on my post, so you brought your house lifestyle into this discussion. I wouldn't ever want to live in a house with someone with bad credit or would spend thousands on degrees. But by the way, right, I have a specialist, and I put a little emoji, and I have fixed bad credit for people with doctoral degrees. Colleges or universities teach you nothing about credit. And I have fixed people's credit with doctoral degrees and the low 600s. As my friend girl would say, a whole educator, doctorate degree, 6 figures, but credit score is in the 600s. I promise you, I cannot make this stuff up. It's just real life. She responded back, Queen of Credit, have a good day. And I'm going to give her the heart and the thumbs up. I hope she had a great day as well. So, yes, you can fix your credit yourself. If you're off work for months, like many people may be, and you have the study and the knowledge, just got another text message from my home-based business. My daily pay just been deposited. See, we get paid 10 different ways. 10 different ways. I'm talking to you and getting paid. I'm talking to you out live and getting paid, getting text alerts that I'm getting paid from my phone. That other text message that I received was a different type of pay and different amount. That second text message I just showed you was my daily pay. That's the difference. And I'm getting taxed on this side of the quadrant versus this side. Because don't you know doctors, dentists, lawyers have LLC and corporations and they're taxed 50 to 60%? People that are on lawn care services have LLCs and sometimes sole proprietors, and they are taxed 40 to 50%. So someone says one is broke if they don't pay self. I have no idea what that means. I am going to take that step. Okay, Teresa. Hello, Donald. I just got off the Zoom with Donald from Durham, North Carolina. He's my business partner. We leverage, right? We leverage to create cash flow. Employers have told me that I myself and my coworkers were the number one asset. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. I know it took me some time to get to your comment, about 15 minutes, that you was the number one asset for the company. And you are. And not only are you the number one asset for the company or corporation, you are for the IRS and the feds too. If you don't convert your Social Security pay into EIN pay the right way, right? I will collaborate. Jose, that's a Miss Ray, that's a beautiful profile picture. Success comes in many failures. Yes, and back to my basketball girls. I used to, after a game, read the stats and say, look, you missed this many free throws. We had this many turnovers. Just focus on all the mistakes they made. And as an incentive not to make those mistakes anymore, we would have some conditioning, right? Conditioning running or techniques, right? We had too many turnovers. Then I found out the only thing that did was made my players afraid to make mistakes, right? And I found out that the more mistakes we made and we played aggressively, the more games we won. But the more we were passive. See, the only thing I want right now in my life passive is income. That's it. So instead of punishing them for making mistakes, I start encouraging mistakes. Because you know what? If you got to the free throw line 20 times, the other team players had to commit fouls, which means if they are committing fouls, their best players are not playing in the game. They have to be on the bench, right? Right? So, okay, you went to the free throw line 20 times, but you missed 10 free throws, right? You went 20 times, you had 40 attempts, but you missed 10 free throws. So instead of punishing them for those missed, I put more time and restructure my practice to make them improve on becoming better free throw shooters. So instead of running them for missing free throws, then I started correcting their shooting mechanics and took away the mental. I started teaching them mental techniques, because you would think that when coaches and myself included used to tell players, the free throw is the easiest shot in the game. Nobody is guarding you. You're just at the line and you don't have anybody in your face. Nobody's trying to stop you from making the basket. That's the easy. No, it's not the easiest, because just like a home-based business, it takes a mental mindset. You're at that line alone. And for the first time, you got maybe your fans, right? They're saying, shh, be quiet. She need to make a free throw. And you got the opposing team that's yelling, or cheerleaders that says, miss that free throw. So at this point, it's mental and mechanics. And such the same in a home-based business. I want you all to put this in the comment. Your money situation is a direct reflect on your mindset. Donald and I just heard this from our millionaire mentor in our private Zoom meeting. He said your money is a direct reflection of your mindset. Now, does that mean the balance in your checking account equals your brain IQ? I don't know. I heard somebody ask that. See, I can hear your thoughts. I heard someone say, does that mean the balance in my bank account equals to my brain IQ? I don't know. Ask yourself. What if the balance in your bank account did equal your brain IQ? What would your numbers be? Oh, Lord. Yeah, I've been queen of credit today. Jesus said, please, queen, don't hurt him. You cannot come in a room with me with this do-it-yourself credit repair discussion. Not with 6 accounts that you deleted. When I'm looking at people accounts that have bankruptcies and 15 charge-offs and 15 collections and inquiries that need, you can't have a conversation with me, right? Hello, Marilyn. Hello, Marilyn. So let the expert do what they need to do, right? Wait less. So let me get to, yeah, she has 2 masters. I was wondering, did she have any student loan data? Was that one of the things that she got deleted off? Because all of my degrees, I stopped paying for it after I went to college on a scholarship. I told my daughter on a basketball scholarship, I do not advocate her getting the student loan debt. I don't care if we have to pay by the course, right? You're not going to leave there and be in student loan debt. And I know I'm late on reading these comments because I went on a little rant, but you all please hit the like button. Thank you, Jesus, so that we can help and spread this information to others, right? So make sure you might have to exit out the live chat momentarily, just for a second. It won't take you out the live stream. Hit the thumbs up and then click back on the live chat button if you're watching this live. Carissa says failure is not always bad. Failure is a lesson and a blessing. Failure teaches you to be stronger and better. It does. It's not always bad. The only time failure is bad is when you don't learn the lesson out of it, right? It's when you do not learn the lesson out of it. So we're back on number 1 asset, right? We're back on your number 1 asset. Jacqueline is saying passive income. Someone says I have a BS in economics, and you never discussed that. You never discuss this stuff. You never, and even in business, you have to ask yourself, the teachers in college or university that's teaching these business classes, people, oftentimes they don't even operate or have businesses. They don't even operate or have businesses. They're teaching you theory. They're teaching you theory. So let's get back to the number 1 asset. Eric says, Queen, please don't waste time on people whose minds are set on what they think they are right. You're right. But I just, when people say they fix it themselves, and it took them time, and, she was out for work during the pandemic, what people can really focus on that skill set? I guess people can focus on that skill set now, because there may be some people off work. But now, if you don't have your unemployment coming in and you don't have a job, you're going to wait months and or maybe up to a year to get rid of 6 things that could be done in 30 days or 60 days max that an expert can do when you desperately need credit. When you desperately need credit, right? Jose said passive income. Eric says yes, and yes, passive income all the way. So some of you all are saying that passive income is the number 1 asset. I'm going to show you. I have like a 5-minute video clip. You all are going to love it. As soon as I stop talking, then I'm going to show you all. Yeah, that is good coaching. And it takes a mindset shift as a coach. And my players became better players, and they became more skilled, and they wasn't afraid to make mistakes at all. And when I got to that level, I felt better as a coach, and my relationship with my players grew and improved. And I helped them as individuals and young lady to learn that mistakes are a part of life. Just make sure you learn from them, right? Self-employed small business, you're paying both your share taxes plus the employer's share taxes because you got both sides. Marvin, you're absolutely correct. I helped my parents establish a daycare here in Mississippi. Have to pay the employees, a corporation. That's why when people come on here and say LLC corporations is the way to freedom, I'd rather sit here in my home-based business, because then you have to manage people too, your employees. You have to pay your 7.2% of their taxes through Social Security and Medicare. As So when people want to tell you in theory to get an LLC incorporation, they don't have one of their own, and then you have to manage people. See, with my home-based people business, I don't have to manage people. I just have to help them master to do what I love to do anyway, which is pretty much strategies, teaching, and coaching. But I don't have to manage them. I don't have to tell them you were supposed to report to work at 8 o'clock a.m. and you were late, right? And this is your warning. They don't have to call me through my home-based business and say, Queen, I'm going to be sick today. I can't report to work. See, all of that stuff takes management of an LLC or a corporation. And you know what? And if it's days that I don't feel like getting out of bed and I just want to text my team some information or send them text messages if I'm able and I'm sick. See, the thing about hustling for labor versus hustling for leverage, right, is that it takes your physical attention too. Means you have to show up. You have to. So a lot of people say my number one asset is myself, but they don't want to make cash flow by leveraging other people. They want to make their income, because it's different between cash flow and income, solo. Well, what happens when you get sick if you are the number one asset? What happens if your children get sick? What happens if your loved one gets sick? If your parents get sick? And you have to labor to assist them. Does your income stop? Through the home-based business, it doesn't have to. So yes, the game is both mental and mechanical. I love that. Thank you, Marva. And sometimes Marva and Nadia B, you all are the great note takers. Your money is a direct reflection of your mindset. Thank you all for typing it in. Jesus says the balance in your bank account shows your credit and money IQ. Do you all think that's true? Yes or no? I'm gonna leave this statement up there as I write it down. Yes or no? The balance in your bank account, right, shows your, Jesus added credit to it, your credit and money IQ. Because Jesus, I really did wonder when I was repairing people that I know six-figure income earners. I really did wonder, were they living paycheck to paycheck, even with six figures, or did at least, even with bad credit, I wondered, did they at least save their money? But I couldn't see how they could, because I looked at the vehicles, for example, the luxury vehicles that they were financing on their credit report. and finance at 15%, 18%. And I would ask myself, how can someone with a doctorate degree think it's okay to pay double-digit interest on a vehicle, depreciating in value, right? Two masters, right? Student loan and a job. Jacqueline says home-based business allow you to get 375 or 400 yes, 475, Jacqueline, tax deductions versus just 15, right, as an employee. So you got the 1099 income versus your W-2 income, right? Versus your W-2 income. Queen of Credit on the lookout for me Thursday. I need help. I'm wise enough. Okay, Liz. I put my website in for you. If you don't know it, www.fixmycreditandcash.com. Start there with credit help and to get your credit analysis. I still had that video for you all. Just stay tuned. You're going to love it. So thank you so much on the Periscope. Hello for those who are just coming in on Periscope as well. Martin said make more money from the neck up than the neck down. Yes, Martin. So true, people. Make more money from the neck up than the neck down. So back to the questions I asked. Do you think your balance in your bank account shows your credit and money IQ? People said no. Someone on Periscope said no. Two people on one person on Periscope said no. Eric said yes. Liz on Facebook said no. Dave says, with most people, I would say yes. Jesus' statement is true. Comment is true. There are always exceptions to the rules. One may have plenty of money but bad credit. That is true. That is true, Liz. I listened to Steve Harvey discuss that he had plenty of money and bad credit, so he had to learn, and he also didn't understand taxes. So that was true for Steve Harvey, right? I think he had to deposit $250,000 on his first house that he wanted because he had bad credit, and so it required a higher cash down payment. Right. I got that locked in. Mark said applied knowledge. All right. So let me share with you all what I think the biggest asset is. What I think the biggest asset is based off of this video. Right. So let me share the video. Supposed to be going to the gym. Let me hurry up and go because I am an asset. I need to get healthy and work out. So.
There's a lot of people who can't make $1,000, and the reason they can't make $1,000 is because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, they're not capable of making $1,000, whatever the case is. So Kim and I today are in the multi-millions of dollars in making money. But we wouldn't have gotten there because one time we were having trouble at $1,000. So every time we had a problem, we had to get bigger than the problem. For many people out there with a $1,000 problem, they're not going to solve the problem until they personally develop themselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically to be bigger than a $1,000 problem. There's 4 types of mindsets. One mindset is I must win. Another mindset is I must be right. Another mindset is I must be liked. And the other mindset is I must be comfortable. So the people who must be liked and the people who must be comfortable will probably never make it as entrepreneurs, simply because, we hear it all the time. I don't really want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. I want to go with my friends and like me. Well, they should not be entrepreneurs, they should be employees. The rich don't work for money. My way of teaching is to first put doubt in your brain to challenge your belief systems. And then maybe you can choose new beliefs or keep up with old beliefs. So when you think about working for money, what comes to your head? So if I could explain this to you for the rest of the millennial lessons, it's really going to be on this theme here. Because financial education is about not working for money. Like one of the first questions when I finally realized what my rich dad was saying, I said, well, when do I never need a paycheck again? So my goal wasn't, go to the moon or, cure cancer. My job was, when would I never need a paycheck again? Because as long as you need a paycheck, be it from an employer or like my poor dad, he was so afraid of losing his government pension. My poor dad was a PhD in education, but what does school teach you about money? Did you learn anything about money at school? Most people don't. So that's why I had my rich dad, who was my best friend's father, and he was teaching me what the rich teach me. If you want to be poor, I hate to say this, you can go to school, but you still won't learn anything about money. And education is more important today. But what do you learn about money? Most kids not going to school, they're coming out of school deeply in debt with student loans, still not learning anything about money. Look at the middle class. They may have high-paying jobs, but the jobs are going away. One of the most important things you have in your life is time. It's one of your greatest assets.
Okay. I want to pause there. One of the greatest assets, or according to Robert Kiyosaki, the greatest thing you have in your life is time. That's why when people want to just, for credit, when they call me and say, well, I'm the type of person, I have to speak to somebody on the phone. I have to explain to them, you're not my client. I can't invest that time in you. Right? This is my form of communication through text messaging, emails, and that's how my business operates. And if that's not what you're accustomed to, right, you can go to other businesses, companies that may take month to month and will talk on the phone with you all day, but take up to a year to help really repair and remove negatives from your credit. So the number one asset, people, that you need to understand you have is your time. Stop wasting your time and just giving it away. I had someone to repair my condo. It took 2 days for what I thought should have been a one-day job, right? A couple of hours. And the only thing in my mind was I could have been getting about 4 or 5 people credit restored versus it taking him 2 days. I was looking at my time. He was a very person that loved to converse and talk. He would talk to me 30 minutes to the hour and I said, look, I need you to get focused and get back to work, because not only is my time valuable, but so should yours be, right? You could have done 2 or 3 jobs by now if you would have focused and got this done and got this out the way. People don't understand that their time is an asset.
Or it's your liability. And being, I just turned 70, and I have friends who have nothing. I mean, they have zero. Now they've made a lot of money, but they have nothing here. They have nice houses, nice cars, you know what I mean? And being young is great, except it can be a liability to you. Because when you're young, you're just having a lot of fun and life's exciting, to you. But the thing is, it's so many people spend their time focusing here. They want to make a lot of money. And I can hear it in their words. I want a career. This is career. Okay? Or I'm going to start my own business. And this is the chart here, which you see. This is the cash flow quadrant, book number 2. E is employee. S is small business, self-employed, or a specialist like a doctor, lawyer, web designer. B is big business, 500 employees or more. And I is professional investor. The big mistake I see young people make is they focus here. And the words are, I want to do what I love. That's the trick. You see, in real life, sometimes you have to do what you hate. Like, people think I like to write books. I hate writing books. But it fills my purpose in life. It's not my passion, my purpose in life. Because my purpose was to get here. I had to learn what I didn't want to learn. I had sometimes to do what I hated. I had to learn about taxes. I had to learn about debt. I had to take classes. I had to learn about insurance. So I was doing a lot of things I hated doing so I could come over here. These guys never do this. They live their passion. Got that passion.
All right, so you saw what he said about the cash flow quadrant, right? I know learning about tax is boring, but hey, with inflation, with the increase of pricing, and the Fed's taking your money through tax through your labor, why wouldn't you want to learn it? If it's taking 56% of your paycheck or more, or the money or the income that you earn. So he's also saying to people in the S quadrant, 60% tax bracket. Do what you love. Start an LLC. See, this is advice that the poor working class give other people. Right? It's not easy teaching people about credit and debt collector and what's really stealing their income while they really living paycheck to paycheck. Or that it might not be in your best interest to start an LLC, to be solo or a specialist. Right? So I could come over here. These guys never do this. They live their passion. I got that passion. So the big mistake for young people is, I'm going to do what I love, which is fine over here. But what do you love the most? Well, I love my freedom. And I know it sounds greedy, but I love making money. I'd rather have a lot of money than no money. I've been both. I've been broke, I've been down, everything, but I'd rather have a lot of money. The big mistakes I see young people making is here. You know, they think about what they want to do, what they love. And what I'm saying to the millennials right now, invest in what you love. Most young people, or should I say, short-sighted people, they think this is it or this is it. But this is the one. The reason I make more money is because it's not what I'm doing what I love. I do sometimes what I hate so I can have the assets that I love. I love having a business. So the business affords me the lifestyle I want. And then I invest in real estate. This is what I know. The higher the risk, the more education it takes. How badly you want to learn. Most people don't have it. They want a job, they want job security, they want a paycheck, they want a 401k. And that's why they don't get to come here. That's why they don't get to come over here. Nothing right or wrong, you know. I don't ever mind to be here. I knew when I was your age I wanted to come here, but the higher the risk, the higher the returns, but also the higher dedication, education, and study you have to go through. You've got to be so much smarter. And most people, they have it. They have that ability to be that smart, but they rather do what they love rather than invest in what they love. As you know, we learn little to nothing in school, but in fact, you'll find out that going to school actually diminishes your ability to get rich. You know, so that goes counter to what everybody tells you. Go to school, get a job, and you'll make money. And that worked probably 1,000 years ago, not working today. The number one reason to be an entrepreneur is not about money. The number one reason to be an entrepreneur is personal development. You know, to develop yourself to be, as the Army says, to be all you can be. So the lesson to young people is don't take a job for the money, take a job for what you learn. But when you look at a job, you look at what can I learn more than how much can I make. And I think that's the biggest challenge. And if you look for a job where you can learn a lot, the harder the job, the better it is. You know, I have bad luck too. I've had financial crashes. I've had people stab me in the back, but they're all good because I grow from them. That's spirituality. You know, people who are afraid of making mistakes, like they teach in school, they don't ever grow.
because spirituality is there's good and there's bad, there's right and there's wrong, there's up and there's down. Most people don't want to be right, they only want to be positive.
Okay, so that's that. Want to share that with you. Exactly, value your time and know your worth. I used to live stream a lot. I used to, get on this platform a lot. And I would just answer people questions.
You can't have that. That's not reality.
I would just randomly answer questions that I knew could impact someone's credit as well as their financial life, right? And then I stopped. I said, no, some questions I'm not going to ask until they invest. But this is my intellectual knowledge and property. Until they give a donation, give a super chat. That was the first thing I started doing on my live streams, to value my time, right? I could be at the gym right now improving my health, but I wanted to go live and share this information with you. I could be spending time with my family, right? So most people don't value their time. I value my time, who I talk to on the phone, when I talk to people, how long. I don't talk business on Sundays. I don't hold conversational credit because I found out over time that usually the people that I even accepted a phone call didn't even follow up to be a client in my business. Right? I'm all about stats. I told you I coach basketball. I'm a stats person. I said, so why am I wasting time on the phone when I have a client over here that I could be actually doing their credit? So I stopped that. I stopped structuring my business like that. And I only give certain people access to call my phone, and that's it. I don't watch much television. I do binge watching when I'm stressed, probably. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It's a whole lot of lessons and stuff like good times, and then my credit analysis, I did a price change because I had to start valuing my time and my intellectual knowledge. Because honestly, the young lady that I shared the conversation or the conversations back and forth with you all at the beginning of this live stream really let me know that if it takes months and people being laid off in their jobs to fix 6 accounts or 6 negative accounts on their credit, and I can get that for them in 30 days sometimes or 60 days, then it was time for a price change on my intellectual property and my knowledge. Because you're oftentimes, when it comes to credit consultation, not paying for my time, you're paying for my years of knowledge that it took to get those results, which in essence is time, right? You're paying for back time. So thank you all so much for your quotes. Thank you, Marvin says, Queen, for your phenomenal coaching. I value John. Thank you so much. Your greatest asset, my people, is giving. All of your knowledge. Thank you. I appreciate your wonderful comments. You all knowing your self-worth. Live Media Pro, what do you mean by how's my credit repair business set up? Please elaborate on that question. And as he's retyping in that question, I'm going to explain to you all what we discussed or show up another short. This is a 5-minute video explaining to you when we talked about why cash is not king in our opinions. And I always ask people the question, who is the United States in debt to? You probably want to know, why do you always ask this question? Because I have to know if you have to understand that you are human resource and that your labor is the highest tax it is, right? All right, so let's watch this video.
Uncle Sam. He has a lot of bills to pay. Almost $4 trillion worth every year. Uncle Sam's income is a little over $2 trillion per year. To make up the difference, the deficit, he does what most Americans do. He borrows money. When Uncle Sam takes out a loan, he calls it a bond. Bonds can be held by banks, investors, or even foreign governments. Uncle Sam has to promise to pay interest on these bonds, just as you do on any loan you take out. Ever think about paying your mortgage with your credit card? That's exactly what Uncle Sam does. He takes out new loans, new bonds, so that he can make payments on the old loans. All those loans, and especially all that interest, adds up. Right now, Uncle Sam owes about $14 trillion. To put that in perspective,
and let me stop and pause here. This video is like eight years old. We're at 25, 26 trillion today, right?
14 trillion is about the same as the national GDP, the total value of all the goods and services produced by the American economy in an entire year. It's such a huge amount of money that Uncle Sam is starting to run out of people to borrow from, and he's having trouble just paying the interest on his loans. The obvious solution would be to either cut spending or increase taxes. But if he cuts spending, the people that he's spending money on would complain that they don't have money to spend and that he was hurting the economy. If he tried to raise taxes enough to close this gap, not only would people definitely have less money to spend, he'd probably have riots on his hands. So Uncle Sam chooses the easy way to make money. Just make it. He calls up the Federal Reserve, which is our central bank, and, like magic, dollars are created and deposited in banks all around America. The problem is that the more of something there is, the less it's worth. Same goes for the US dollar.
Okay, I'm gonna pause there. The more something there is, the more access, the more it's distributed, the less it's worth. So cash can't be king. We're $26 trillion in debt, right? Or the feds are, right?
Dollar. The more dollars there are, the less each one will buy.
Okay, the more dollars there are, the less things they will buy.
That's why commodities like gasoline, food, and gold become more expensive when Uncle Sam does his money-making magic. The commodities aren't really worth more. Your money is just worth less. That's called inflation.
So how is cash king when the more is given to people, the more people get stimulus, prices have to go up as a result, which means it loses its purchasing power, right?
Remember the foreign governments that lent money to Uncle Sam? When they lent money to the American government, something interesting happened. It made the US look richer and their countries look poorer. When a country looks poor compared to America, $1 of our money buys a lot of their money. So they can pay their workers only a few pennies a day. With such low labor costs, they can sell their products in America for lower prices than any American manufacturer can. The easiest way for American companies to compete is to move their factories overseas and pay their workers a few pennies a day too. This contributes to a recession. Americans lose their jobs, stop paying taxes, and start collecting government benefits like Medicaid and unemployment. This means that Uncle Sam has even less income and even more expenses. At the same time, the people who still have jobs are desperate to keep them. So they tend
Okay, let me pause there. It said when people lose their jobs, right? And let's say they start collecting Social Security and Medicaid. The IRS, this is what this video is referring to, Uncle Sam, and it says stop paying taxes, begin to lose money. See, more people understand the tax game, the more this is going to affect the IRS. Once you understand how to switch on the other side or to get taxed less out of your human labor from your job.
unemployment. This means that Uncle Sam has even less income and even more expenses. At the same time, the people who still have jobs are desperate to keep them, so they tend to do more work, but not to get paid anymore. When your dollars are worth less, and you're not earning more of them, that's called stagflation. And
I want you all to, I'm pausing here. We're 26 trillion. This is video's about 8 years old. We are going to enter into stagflation. where prices are going to be higher and people will have no jobs, right? And no income coming in.
This is why Uncle Sam is in a catch-22. He can't raise taxes or cut spending without making the recession worse. And he can't have the Federal Reserve create more money without making inflation worse. For now, he can keep borrowing money, but since he can't even pay the interest on the loans he already has, it just makes his inevitable bankruptcy even worse. Whether it's in 2 months or 2 years, the day will come when Uncle Sam can no longer pay his bills. When that happens,
Now, why can't you think the government can't pay their bills? Because when people don't have jobs and that human labor is gone, who do they owe bills to? If our human labor is paying the IRS, and if you can see this illustration, that red arrow is pointing here. This is a representative of the IRS and Fed. This is a representative to other countries, right? The globe. This is a representative of banks, right? Because the IRS is what this video is referring to. Uncle Sam print money provided to banks as well. Print money provides it to the government IOU bonds purchases. They are not the same. Prints money, lends it to other countries. So when other countries see that their cash is being devalued because more of it is being distributed in forms of stimulus, then countries like China and Japan, et cetera, say, we don't want your cash anymore. Your checking account balance is zero. You're giving us, in essence, a worthless or a check, because the check it used to be backed by physical gold, which is money, because other countries will take your gold because they know there's real money. And so that's why, if you've been following the news, that the federal government has been buying more gold reserves, and China has been buying more gold too, because it wants to become independent of accepting or using the US dollar, right? So let me hit this.
the banks, investors, and foreign governments who are counting on that money won't be able to pay their bills. You see, just like Uncle Sam, governments, banks, and corporations don't actually have much money. Mostly, all they have is debt to each other. If one link in the debt chain stops paying, defaults, the whole thing falls apart. If investors can't pay their bills, corporations won't be able to pay their employees. If banks can't pay their bills, you won't be able to take out a loan, use a credit card, or even withdraw your savings. If foreign governments can't pay their bills, their own banks and corporations will have the same problems. That's called a global economic collapse. It's never happened before, so nobody really knows how bad it will be, how long it will last, or even how we'll eventually get out of it.
Well, we are entering that stage now, and that's why they are comparing or saying that this will be 2020 Great Depression, because it's going to happen on a global scale, right? Jesus, where can you get the subscription? I'm planning on setting that up tonight. I haven't. So the information, like what I'm sharing with you now, these mindset videos, understanding about the Bretton Woods system, 1971, all of that, I'm not going to make it public information anymore, right? This is things that only members of my YouTube channel who are monthly subscribers are going to have to able to know that knowledge. I made that decision today. So this is probably going to be my last thorough breakdown and understanding and sharing this knowledge of you all getting to understand, because believe it or not, this is not taught in schools. And so it takes repetitive and it takes different lessons, right? Different videos to teach this type of thing. So people that are monthly subscribers will be able to access that. It was another video I wanted to share with you all. Also, did you all know that China is buying up a lot of the world ports? Jesus is from Los Angeles. I'm gonna share this for you just for a quick second. Oh yeah, I'm doing it. You're right. Yeah, only people that have monthly subscribers. I'm not making this public information anymore. And to be honest with you, a lot of people are not. They're well. First of all, you have to teach people to invest in your time, right? But you know, a lot of people are just not acceptance to knowing the truth. They would rather hear a pretty lie, right, than the ugly truth. And so it's like a classroom. Do you want the advanced students, or you want the mediocre students that you know you have to pull up by the bootstraps to teach? Or like basketball, would I rather coach a girl that at least had 2 years of playing experience and have some knowledge of the game, or someone that never even picked up a basketball, right? And so I'm putting my time into a different set of people so I can teach on a higher level. And we're going to share this. And I mean, you didn't even ask what the subscription was, Aubrey. It could have been it could have been $5 a month. But just because you have a free mentality, don't want that to happen, right? Okay, Aubrey, I'll share this with you. But Jesus, with you all, did you? And I don't think you all know how rich and wealthy China is becoming. I mean, this is stuff that I'm only going to share with people that's in the subscription. So let me share some of this.
This is the port of Long Beach, California. It is the second largest port in North America, ahead of the port of New York and behind the port of Los Angeles. Roughly 16 million tons of cargo pass through this port each year, which eventually makes its way to warehouses, factories, and homes within the United States. Now, this single port, which is just 13 square kilometers, is responsible for well over $100 billion worth of trade and employs over 340,000 people in Southern California. So it is quite apparent that this port is one of the most vital parts of Southern California's economy. Yet the Port of Long Beach is not owned by the city of Long Beach, nor is it owned by the state of California, and it's not even owned by the nation of the United States. You see, in the...
Did you all hear that, or do I need to replay that? See, these are the only thing that that people on my monthly subscription are going to get access to. I'm gonna have to replay that, because these people that have the monthly subscription, you're going to get access to stuff like this that really is going to help you. Hello, 5G. I haven't heard from you in a long time. So glad to see you in the CC room, credit and cash flow room. I wish Mr. Mentor was here, right? Because I'm spending 2 hours, almost 2 hours on this live stream. You know how much research, how much time I had to research these videos and listen to them to get prepared to do the live stream, right? So I know people give super chat donations, and I appreciate that, because it takes away time for, you know, my business, my family. I could have been doing anything on this Sunday, you know, but I wanted to share this with you all. Azu says LA and Long Beach are the most important ports, right? And we don't own them. Did you all see that? 100 billion? 100 billion? You all don't think the United States is not rich as you think. Just, and people tell me, oh, we can print unlimited money. Cash is king and la la la. Auburn, I haven't decided. Auburn, stop asking how much would it be. Start changing your language and vocabulary. Ask, what would the investment cost be? Right, Aubrey, start doing that. So let me replay this, because this is some powerful information. Let me replay this. Long Beach, California.
second largest port in North America, ahead of the Port of New York and behind the Port of Los Angeles. Roughly 16 million tons of cargo pass through this port each year, which eventually makes its way to warehouses, factories, and homes within the United States. Now, this single port, which is just 13 square kilometers, is responsible for well over $100 billion worth of trade and employs over 340,000 people in Southern California. So it is quite apparent that this port is one of the most vital parts of Southern California's economy. Yet the Port of Long Beach is not owned by the city of Long Beach, nor is it owned by the state of California, and it's not even owned by the nation of the United States. You see, in the late 1980s, the Port of Long Beach was sold to a company called Orient Overseas International Limited, which is a company that is based out of Hong Kong. And at this time when the purchase was made, Hong Kong was a British colony and a close economic partner with the United States. So the United States viewed this sale as a win-win, as the Hong Kong-based company would go on to invest billions of dollars and expand the port on its own, while hundreds of thousands of jobs in Southern California would be created from this investment. And for roughly 3 decades, that's what happened. This was a fairly positive relationship between Long Beach, California, and the Hong Kong-based company. But then in 2017, something happened that put an end to this positive relationship. You see, in July of 2017, the Chinese state-run company called Costco ended up purchasing a 75% stake in the Orient Overseas International Limited.
So China, wow. I'm telling you, hello, if you're just not coming in. And this last thing, I probably said that 10-15 minutes ago. Another powerful thing, because I'm just going to share with people only what members of my group will get from now on. I might go live with just general information, but really teaching you the Bretton Woods system, teaching you what true assets are, right? Private members would get, I just got a big announcement of my tax professional on my team in the home-based business. So he will be coming to the members, showing tax strategies through the home-based business. And we're not going to make all this information public, right? We're not going to make all of this information public. So thank you so much, 5G. Hit the subscribe button. Let me share this other thing. I always ask, who is the United States in debt to for a reason? This is another mind-blowing video. Let me share this. You're absolutely, yeah, people will. That's very scary. It's very scary. Right? So Jesus, I didn't know if you knew that for the people that may be from California area, the U.S. is broke. Exactly, and that's why my members, will know what strategic moves to make. Right. Yeah, well, you don't have to pay for the mistakes, that the U.S. made. Okay, 5G says he's been studying credit repair or wholesaling. Okay. It takes studying, right? It takes studying this. I mean, a lot of people can't regurgitate or recite the Fair Credit Reporting Act laws because, like for me, my parents are pastors, right? So I grew up in a church and reading the King James Bible. So when it comes to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and its laws, it's not written in a easily translation, right? And so I promise you, if you have any background reading the King James Bible, then you make it interpret the Fair Credit Reporting Act laws, right? That's not why they're hesitant about approving the stimulus. They want to bankrupt this. They want to do away with the dollar. They want to move digital, right? They want to. Trump said he would not sign the stimulus package if they didn't do the pay tax protection included in it. Why is that? Because now it means you may be 75 years old before you can draw Social Security and Medicaid and not Medicare and not 62. Right? Yeah, they want a global reset because countries don't want the cash anymore. They know it's devalued, right? And so it's going to take, probably going to war with some of these countries to make them continue to exchange in the US dollar. So they have to do something to reset the system, and it's going to be globally done. China is working on this gold-backed digital crypto. United States is as well. If you keep up with Forbes, then you will know that. I think in 2021 January that we will see. Ronnie, they won't go back to the gold standards because they can't tax you. If it ever got back to the gold standard, you can't be taxed. Right? You can't be taxed. They can only tax printed currency. Your 5G credit is an asset in this during this time. Credit is an asset because for some people, a lot of people, credit is going to be income. So let me play this. Now this is video's a little older too. It's more update than the previous one. It's showing 19 trillion. We're at 26 trillion, right? You all see that? Let me take down the comments. I'm going to blow up this screen. I'm going to blow this up. You see that? The U.S., who does the U.S. owe the most? The debt is owned by American citizens, state and local governments, pensions, funds, and Federal Reserve. This is why pensions and 401ks are crashing. And I know you might be asking, well, I thought China, we owe China debt. We're in debt to China. So why is it said the debt is owned by the American citizens? I'm going to play this. I want you all to answer. Martin says, I think you're going to need both credit and cash to prove if you can pay the lender back. Banks are low on funds. Lord, this is what I don't understand. People, the rich and wealthy understand bankruptcy. Why is it hard for the poor working class to understand that? For example, I've never understood why people are so afraid of credit card debt. I still don't understand that. Why financial planners would say, well, pay off this credit card debt. I'm like, the most easiest debt to get rid of, credit card, and get it removed, the charge off your credit report, and you can file it in bankruptcy, or you can settle to pay almost a fourth of what you owe if you can't pay. It's so many different ways. Or you can get the charge off your credit card and rebuild new credit with other banks and discharge it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we don't. But anyway, maybe there's not common financial education. Maybe that's what. So answer my question. How is the debt owned by American citizens? Pensions, funds, Federal Reserve. I think this is probably one of my most important live streams I probably ever done. So if we gotta stop saying we, I'm not gonna put myself in that category. The United States owe all of these countries. And you all still haven't answered my question, right? How can American citizens be the top owners of the United States debt? Come on now, we're in class. We're in class. I'm waiting on you all to answer. How can American citizens be the top owners of the United States debt? Come on, my spot. I got 5G in the room. All I need was Mr. Mentor. I haven't seen Sean. Sean is usually, any of my ladies. Come on, you all, answer that question. I just showed you the video. They showed you. Besides China, China is number 2. China is number 2. How? How's the citizens the top owners of the debt? Do I have to pass the cost to somebody? Government bonds. It's not your money. No. Because we live here? No. Not through 401k and pensions. Which those are about to crash. 401k and pensions are about to crash as well. When people lose money in 401k, the number one are their pensions because of the stock market. Wealth is never lost, right? It's transferred. No, it's not about credit. Who can't pay back credit? It's very little consequences if you can't pay back credit cards. You all confused. You want me to play the video again? Because I need some water. This live stream is long. Let me play the video again. Okay, I want you all to see. That's why I made it smaller. The date, this was made December the 15th, 2016. So it's what, 4 years old? The debt is owned by American citizens, state and local government, pensions funds, and the Federal Reserve. Now, I want you to pay attention to, it's saying the United States debt is owned, not owed. Owned by the Federal Reserve too. Owned by American citizens. You know how you own the debt? First of all, American citizens, Federal Reserve and the government, two different entities, right? You exactly, somewhat. You own the debt when you own the cash. This note is a legal tender for all debts. And when you own the cash, you are highly taxed because money, Constitution, physical gold and silver is money, cannot be taxed. Why do they care about taxing you? Why? Number one, because they need your labor to exchange and interchange produce, services with other countries, right? So this is a way to get cheap labor, is to make you be taxed for your skill, your gift, and your talent. Because if you ever made yourself a corporation or a business, they will have to tax you legally as an EIN and not an SSN person. Now, as Robert Kiyosaki said, it's hard for a lot of people to be a big business owner, manage 500 or more employees. And even this cash flow quadrant takes a lot of skill set, knowledge, and time to get taxed at 0%. But if you use debt or credit to invest, that's what you're doing. That's why people want you afraid of credit card debt, unsecured debt that has no collateral. Even if they try to take you to court, some companies, some banks will, some banks will just write it off and they'll send you a 1099 a C in the mail and say you need to claim this as income because you didn't pay us back. So we took the tax breaks. We wrote it off as bad debt, but add it to your income so you can be taxed higher. So they might send you a 1099-C. But if you have a good tax person on your team, if you qualify, then that could be excluded where you're not taxed on that. A credit card right now. That's why they want you afraid of debt. That's why they don't want you to learn a way to use debt and credit to invest. That's why they don't want you to understand that the banks have to make products like your house, credit card, and vehicles to get your labor, right? So you can continuously be taxed at a higher rate. So you don't get this knowledge. But if you have a business entity, and this is why I say home-based business, right? This is why I say home-based business. because it's hard for you yourself to build a business with 500 employees. See, if you do an LLC in a corporation, you have to do it solo. The S stands for solo, specialist, doctor, lawyers, etc. You're getting taxed higher than anybody else, even if you have a 6-figure income. But when you get over here, the home-based business can help you leverage more people for a lower cost of investment and the same tax benefits that if you were managing 500 people, you get in the home-based business. And you're leveraging not only your talent and your time, but other people's talent and time as well. So instead of you being afraid of that, use it so you won't be in the highest tax bracket. Now, the second thought-provoking question is, Queen, well, why, if cash is being devalued, why would the Fed want to take more of it from out of my labor, from my job, out of my paycheck, right? They don't want the cash per se. They want you to always be hustling backwards. They want you to always depend on using debt in a negative way, to always give them your time and your labor. Because number one, they need products. This is what's called GDP, gross domestic product production. United States is not producing anything right now. This is why 2020 is going to look like the 30s Great Depression, and they're calling 2020 the Great Depression. We're not producing anything for exchange, and right now we're producing goods and services. No cars, no vehicles. Farmers are saying right now that they are low on food. The United States is not in any type of production. So they need your labor to exchange with other countries. And here's the kicker. I'm telling you all, this is the most in-depth video you're ever going to get from me. So when other countries are not having, China, Japan, all the countries listed, can't get any produce of exchange through your labor, you know what they're going to want? They're going to want the money, the real money. They don't want this. They're not going to want this. They're going to want the gold, the silver, the money by constitutional. We don't want this paper printed stuff. It's not worth anything. You can exploit your people through their labor and their jobs because they don't have any jobs. So we can't even get your produce. We can't get your soybeans. We can't get your the farmers, or we can't get your milk. China, you know, we export milk and soybeans to China. We can't get that, right? Commodities. Oil is low. So we want the real deal. And the country that has the most gold is the most power and the biggest military. Because this has failed. So let's just print it out and give it out, because we're going to bankrupt. We don't want it. That's failed. We took it off, backed by gold, which was money in 71. Now it's devalued, right? And now these other countries might call for our debt. So we can't have the labor of our people, right? And then, so the more people that understand how to use debt to invest, not to buy liabilities, but to get assets and to get taxed less, the more that affects the economy. And that's why gold hit an all-time high since 2011 at $1,900 troy ounce. They're expecting gold to be $5,000 by the end of the year. Because the only thing other countries going to want in exchange to pay off that debt right now is the money. And cash is produced, has cotton in it. And some people will still argue that African American slaves or black slaves were human resource without pay, just their labor, picking cotton. And people still are in the economic slavery because they're still chasing picking cotton itself is money. And they don't understand that as long as you work for money, and as long as you tax in the highest tax bracket, you're always going to be an economic slave. And because money could not be taxed, you don't believe me, go on the website, buy gold, buy silver. There will be no state taxes, federal, no taxes applied because money cannot be taxed, but currency can. So no, it's not about, they knew that if they make your currency that you work for every day depreciate, that it will take your time, your number one asset, your number two asset, your intellectual property, your skill and your labor. But if you ever learn this system and learn passive income, it takes away your less time and labor from going back, right? And if you ever acquired real assets, if you ever learn not to just live in your house, but how to get cash flow back out of your house, so you're going to do that through home-based business. Not an LLC, not a corporation. The only way in the law that you can get money back from you, whether you're in an apartment or condo, wherever you reside, is by having a home-based business. And that's why credit and home-based business is an asset. And this is why credit and debt is an asset to you, because you cannot be taxed on it. And people scare you, and they have you hustling, and they have you paying the highest tax bracket, and they have you, if I can just pay this house off, if I can do, why not stay in the house for 5 years and get capital gains and get, capital gains taxes taken away once you resell it? Now you're not always behind the 8 ball. Now you're not always struggling living paycheck to paycheck. Now you're learning how to make money work for you. Now you're learning how to trademark and be a businessman or businesswoman. Now you're learning how to be the business, right? And not be taxed. And doing it off leverage and not just your labor. So that's why when people ask me, well, Queen, why you use this about the LLC? Like Robert Kiyosaki said, don't do it for your passion, do it for your purpose. You might be great at landscaping. You might be great at plumbing. But that takes your number one asset and your number two asset, which is your time and your physical labor. And you're still going to be taxed higher than what you would with a home-based business and getting passive income. So, hey, for the people that stayed on, it's still 60 for 2 hours. I hope you got a lot out of it. But if you want to be free, you got to get over here. You got to get in the home-based business, and you have to learn to use debt to invest and learn to use your credit to get real assets. I don't know if you all know this. Let me share this with you real quick. Let's just say this is one of your sources that you want to go, and you're learning that real money can't be taxed, and you want to have real assets, right? And so whenever this global reset happens, you know that having this in your possession will make you rich and wealthy. Right? Let's say I want to go to, and I'm not promoting them or anything, but let's say I want to go to JM Bullion and purchase some real silver and gold, right? It tells you about the tax. You need to know what type of bullion and silver and gold to buy, that once you resell is not taxed. If you're interested in that, that's on my silver stacking report. On my website, it's predicted that silver will be a greater investment than gold, because I won't get into it. I've been on long enough. But the gold and silver ratio is like 1:11 to 1, which means about 8 ounces of silver can buy you 1 ounce of gold right now. And silver costs less, right? So let's say I wanted to just purchase just 1 ounce of gold. It's just $2,000, right? Because gold spot price, whoa, that's increased since I've been live. It's $1,915. You can go here and you can pay, right, or purchase people with a credit card. You can get real money with a credit card. Visa, American Express, and Discover. Real money that's predicted to be, it's at $1,916 spot, 5,000 spot by the end of the year. But no, somebody told you to cut up credit cards. They told you they was evil. They told you to be afraid of them. You can get real money that's going to triple and quadruple, or you can keep for generational wealth with a credit card. And people told you to cut them up, don't use them. They are evil. Yeah, if you go and swipe them to take a vacation or to buy a Louis Vuitton purse or the latest shoes or fashion, things that depreciate in value. I don't know. Credit cards are a blessing to me. I can get real money with it. I call my credit cards investors. I don't even call them credit cards anymore. I call them my investing partners. They've got nothing but real assets for me. So, hey, I'm signing off. If you want to get your credit up, go to my website, you can. You want to get in the home-based business, I put that link up too. For the home-based business, like I said, if I could rate any video that I thought was of importance, I would definitely put this video as the most important video that I feel like I have ever live streamed, right? And I would love to have 500 to 1,000 people on, but you know what? I feel like my channel in this couple of weeks is going to really explode because people are going to need this. You stroll all the way down, you can get your silver stacking report, because silver will be a higher return than gold. I said yesterday I was going to update this, and I didn't. So this reveals what source, and I didn't say I bought from that website. It was just a website. gives you the 3 websites that I personally purchased from as well. If you want credit help, get your credit analysis so you can learn how to convert credit into cash flow and to start using your investor cards, credit cards, to invest in assets, not liability. Your credit analysis here, $125 investment to get that done and to get you on a track to work with me, so you can have the coaching and consulting you need to increase your credit score at the highest time frame or the quickest time frame available through expertise, knowledge, and years of experience in helping others. And if you want to use that credit card to now invest in a home-based business so you can get that passive income and not be taxed at that higher rate, I also put that link in the website. And this is also the page that you will go to with that. And I'm finally put your name, phone, and email address in, right? And you can also contact me with that, right? Also, other components, it covers every aspect of your financial life. But I'm signing off now. Time for me to go to the gym. I'm glad you all stayed. I hope this opened your eyes, open your financial well-being, because people are really going to need it in the next upcoming days, right, and weeks. I'm signing off. This is Queen of Credit. Here's to your peace and prosperity, your credit and your cash flow, and your health and your wealth.